that he needs to be a sicko, and it cannot be updated for the year 2024. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can't be this version where he's watered down. It needs to be. He goes, listen, Beetlejuice, he's a thing. He's more of a thing than he is a she or than a he. He's saying he can't be politically correct. It's just he's more of like a strong male energy, a stupid male energy, which he loves. But he doesn't want that to go away just because it's 2024 and people are so offended by everything. He goes, he needs to still be Beetlejuice, which I totally get.
Welcome to the Hollywood Raw Podcast, Raw Rundown, where we give you the top 10 stories of the week, brought to you by data, by Google search, and lastly, by our personal pickings. My name is Adam Glynn. Over there is Dax Holt. We are two people obsessed with the Hollywood culture, and we're always trying to prove to the world that we're straight. It's just how
we are not doing a good job. That's the sad part about the whole thing.
No, it is terrible. You know what's so funny, dude? I always catch myself in conversations knowing way too much of what's going on, and then people are just like, I could see them like, I didn't know, and then I'm like, no, you didn't know because it doesn't exist, and then I have to, it's right. How you doing, bud?
Funny. I'm good. We're going to try to make this a quicker rundown today. My son is going into 4th grade today. Today is his first day, so he is very excited. I'm going to be taking him in a little bit. So
very cool.
Big day at the Holt house.
It's so weird how, like, in the West Coast, and then actually in the Florida, too, you start school in August, but, like, in the East Coast, we start school after Labor Day.
Yeah.
Like, in the Northeast.
Get out pretty early, too, though.
You do. It's just, you would think that the whole country would be on the same kind of school sort of schedule, but it's not.
Yeah. But it makes it good because we get out a little early so we can get on vacation before other people and get into places before, everyone gets crazy and the beaches get packed, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It's funny because I guess that they did it on purpose so you guys get a head start into the amusement parks.
They like us better.
They like you better. They definitely like you guys better. You don't have an accent. It's funny how, like, people in, like, my area have an accent, but California doesn't really have an accent, right?
We just say slang words. Bra, hang loose. No, we don't say that. I'm just kidding.
No, you guys do all, like, the cool kind of Instagram terms that we're all trying to catch up on. All right. So on the midweek, we release an episode. Sometimes Dax and I talk to each other. Sometimes we talk to a celebrity, a publicist, bodyguard, paparazzi. This week, we talked to an entertainment news journalist, our friend Jessica Finn of the U.S. Sun. She informed us of a big story that's going on this week, which we will put in the rundown. But it is a good listen. It's definitely unique, and we'll get into that story later because it actually makes our top 10 stories of the week. Before we get to the top 10 stories of the week, the reviews you give us, we read them. We actually read those reviews. And when you do that, we actually like to read them on air to give you guys a little bit of love because you guys are giving us love. So it's a whole combination of love. Dax, do you have a review ready for us?
I do. All right. This one comes from Jane S. in North Carolina. It's a 5-star review. It says, so good. Love listening to your podcast while I work. I like how current, relative, and thorough your celebrity rundowns are. Just long enough without being too much. I love your friendship and how well you guys play off each other. Keep it up. I'm also hoping for number 1,000 from Jane. You know what? I think Jane was actually one of the winners of the 1,000 contest. So
yeah,
there we go.
No, that's good. We should do another contest because we do have I have a bunch of autographs that Charlie from who's a past guest has gave to the Hollywood Raw podcast. So we could come. I thought you were going
to say your autographs that you were going to be handing out.
No one cares about mine. There would be no value to that. In fact, you'd actually lose money on the paper and the ink. So, do you know, Dax? I've had people ask me for autographs. I have photos of people coming up to me with photos asking me to sign, and I actually took photos of you. Yeah.
That's hilarious. I've had people ask me for my autograph, but I was like, might as well just throw this in the trash. What are you going to do with this?
Yeah. I'm like, you know what? I'll give you one better. Here's my number. Here's my address. We're friends. Like, that's how lame I am. Trust me. You don't want that. All right. Dax, let's get to the Raw rundown, starting with number 10. Let's get right into it.
All right. Number 10, Michael Keaton explaining the 2 conditions that he had for reprising the Beetlejuice role in the sequel. I am so excited for this movie coming out. He is now 72 years old, obviously Oscar-nominated actor. He played Beetlejuice back in 1988 and now is returning to the role 36 years later. But he did have a couple things that he said, listen, this has to be in there or, I just can't do the movie. So he opened up about it in GQ magazine. He basically said, listen, I think that the Beetlejuice character doesn't drive the story as much as he did in the first one. He's more of a part of the storyline in this one as opposed to the first one, which is the case. And you know that there was only 17 minutes of screen time that Beetlejuice had in the first movie, right?
I did not know that until I read this story. That's crazy that the whole movie is called Beetlejuice and he was only in the movie for 17 minutes.
Yeah, I think it's just because it was about the other characters and living in the house and their relationship together and all this kind of stuff. And so I think he wanted that to be the same case. Like, don't give me a ton of screen time. I don't want it, or it just doesn't make sense for the character. And the other thing he said is, I don't want this to be a washed down version. He said that he needs to be a sicko and it cannot be updated for the year 2024. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can't be this version where he's watered down. It needs to be, he goes, listen, Beetlejuice, he's a thing. He's more of a thing than he is a she or than a he. He's saying he can't be politically correct. It's just, he's more of like a strong male energy, a stupid male energy, which he loves, but he doesn't want that to go away just because it's 2024 and people are so offended by everything. He goes, he needs to still be Beetlejuice, which I totally get.
Yeah, I actually think that's cool. I think that's, first of all, I love Michael Keaton. He's one of my favorite actors that I think doesn't really, maybe he does get the credibility that he deserves, but I think he's so good as an actor. With that, and I just think he's like just a really interesting guy, very unique. But Beetlejuice, to me, I wasn't a huge Beetlejuice fan. When that movie came out, I was just kind of like uncomfortable with it. I was like, what is this? It was almost ahead of its time. It was very artsy in a way. I don't know. It just wasn't for me.
It was a great movie. We watched it with the kids a couple weeks back.
The original?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, loved it. It's still such a good movie.
Yeah.
Weird, but great.
It's definitely weird. With that said, I respect that Michael Keaton said, I can't have this be like a politically correct, woke version of Beetlejuice. He wants to keep it authentic and fun and why people kind of love the character. So I appreciate that. I hope the fans appreciate that. I think it's really cool. And again, I think the biggest takeaway from this was I did not know that Beetlejuice was so little in the movie. what a great acting job for him,
Yep.
I would be curious, if you watch movies of the time, how many men actors are in the movie.
I think you would be surprised by how little there are in movies, and especially the bigger movies, like Endgame and stuff, where these huge actors were coming to be in the movie for 10 seconds, and that was it.
Do you know they filmed the movie 300 in 30 days? No. It was just a real quick.
Well, yeah, thing. They didn't need sets; they just had green screens everywhere, so they didn't have to go anywhere.
Yeah. So you're going to go see Beetlejuice?
Oh, hell yeah, for sure.
I will sneak into the theater to watch Beetlejuice if it's still there. I want to see, there's another movie, which I'll get into later, that kind of goes into a story in the countdown. But that's the only movie I would actually go see in theaters. I don't think I'd go see Beetlejuice in theaters. I did keep saying I was going to go see Twister in theaters, but I want to see in that 4X where it's the smoke comes out and it gets cold. It's like a whole experience.
But then I just sucked up into the ceiling.
Yeah, you get sucked into the ceiling fans. I didn't make it towards that, but I heard the Twister was a fun movie to see. But there's another movie I'd want to see, and I'd probably go see on a weekday night. It's more like a weekday night movie, but we'll get into that later in the charts. Dax number 9.
Get ready for some Jax Taylor back in your life. He is coming out of treatment and headed back to your TV. So Jax Taylor's ready to get back to work. According to TMZ, he is ready to check out of treatment and return home. But a part of returning home is obviously hanging out with Brittany and his son. And they are currently filming The Valley. So he's going to be very much a part of it. I guess it sounds like he will be talking about his journey and treatment and his mental struggles, all of that. But they're not going to be pushing him too much to talk about. It's kind of going to be on his own time frame. under his conditions. But I think a lot of people are wanting to hear from him. And so what a better time than to come out, and then cameras are in your face. So you're ready to talk about it in your most vulnerable moment.
Yeah, listen, now's the time to make money off your issues. It's just what it is. What his problem was, I don't think we know. I'm sure Jax is a little bit of an open book. He has a publicist, so he knows what he's
We
doing.
know that he was in inpatient treatment for mental health issues and is ongoing because of it, and amid his ongoing separation from Brittany. So I think it's all mental health issues that he will be talking about.
Do you think he got into the treatment for free? He just has to plug it?
Because I haven't seen the name of the place he went to. Have you?
Well, I mean, not yet, but I guess maybe eventually he'll kind of release the name of it. I just know so many people in my life. I don't know anybody who's went to treatment for mental health issues. I know people went to treatment for maybe
yeah, but it's
substance
also
abuse.
it hasn't been like in the past. It wasn't something that people talked about or would seek professional help, and I think now it's become more of a like, yes, there. Just because you can't see the problem on me doesn't mean I don't have a problem. Like I can't put a cast on my head. You know, if you see someone with a cast on their leg, you know that they're injured, but you can't see a cast on someone's brain, so you don't understand or can relate to why they need help.
But the treatment, the rehabs, all of this stuff has become such a business, a money business.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say the person's name. I'll let you guys figure it out because it could be a little bit interesting. But there is a former Bachelor contestant that was big into recovery, and he kind of developed he is very vocal about his recovery. In fact, that's what he does full time. Is he sort of works and helps people find treatment. And I think he does very well off that. Like he works for a charity, but yet again, there is a money thing there, and he makes a lot of money off these recoveries. And he has a very good network into a lot of wealth, and gets those wealthy people when there's someone in the family who's having an issue, takes them, fixes them, and makes a lot of money off it. So it's just, to me, the rehab business becomes it's a good business. It's helping a lot of people, but it's been a very profitable business for a lot of people.
Yeah.
All right, Dax, number 8.
Number 8, pop star Chappell Roan. I don't know if you've heard of her. She became very famous after her performance at Coachella, the 2024 performance that went crazy viral. She is calling out a lot of her fans, calling them entitled, saying that they've been stalking, harassing her. She posted this video on TikTok. She's got 4 million followers on her Instagram and an additional 3 on TikTok. She goes, look, I don't care about abuse and harassment, stalking, whatever. It's like a normal thing for people to do who are famous or a little famous, she said. But I don't care that it's normal. I don't care that this is crazy type of behavior that comes along with the job or the career field I've chosen. That doesn't make it okay. That doesn't make it normal. Doesn't mean that I want it. Doesn't mean that I like it. And she basically calls out the people that are coming up to her, ask her for a photo. She says no, and they'll maybe fire back and be like, oh, you're a bitch, whatever. And she's just frustrated with the whole situation. I think because she became so famous so quickly, that she wasn't ready for it. And she goes, look, just because I have a job that is in front of people doesn't mean that you're entitled to every moment that you want with me just because you see me on the street. So I kind of go back and forth with this because she's 100% right. Like, people are not entitled to whatever they want just because you're a celebrity. However, you can't be mad if a fan who likes you comes up, is excited to get a photo. This is the one moment they may have with you. You deny them. You can't be upset that they're upset, right? Like, that to me that's not fair to be mad at them because they're loving who you are or loving your music or loving your personality.
I'm with you. It's tough because it's a weird time though, Dax, because I don't think you see it as much. I'm in New York, and there's these professional fans that these people are out.
Fans?
They're professional fans. And what I mean by this, these people are out 80 hours minimum a week looking to get autographs, looking to get photos with celebrities. Then they'll take videos on their cell phone and they'll sell it to the paparazzi who sell it to the agencies. This is what they do. For example, this week I saw Adam Sandler walking in Soho. Girl comes up, she's a professional fan, walks up, hey, Adam, can I sign this? He's like, hey, I'm with my family, not now. And then all of a sudden, what does she do? She runs up 100 yards further, takes her phone, films him on her phone just walking by. He's like kind of like annoyed by it. She sells that video to a paparazzi who sells it to the agency. Actually, what he does, he puts on his social media. It's a guy named Elder. You might have seen his videos on social media. So it's just what is going on. It's a very weird time, and these fans, they're an issue. They're here to make money. I think it's a very confusing time for an artist as well. Like, you want to please the people, but yet again, do you want to please the real fans or people that are trying to make money or people that just want photos with celebrity? It's a very awkward, uncomfortable time for everyone. But I think ultimately it comes to, these fans a lot of them are not, they're not mentally secure. Stable, I could say.
Yeah.
But yet again,
well, I think, and there's
the other side is the other side, however, is if you want to go into this is what goes on with the industry. So you got to be able to stomach it or tolerate it a little bit.
Yeah, true. Because a lot of people, like, again, they become fans and they become obsessed with you and your personality. And I mean, at the end of the day, it sells tickets, it sells records, it sells all of it because people are obsessed with you.
Yeah. It's this part of the business. Listen, if you want to be an actor, go, and you don't want to be bothered, go on Broadway. No one's going to bother you. You'll make okay money. No one's going to bother you. But you want to be a big film star, you want to be in movies, and you want to go on tour as a musician. This is stuff that comes along with it. So it's a decision for that person to make. Dax number 7.
Russell Simmons pleading for fans to stop, quote unquote, attacking celebs that are visiting him in Bali. If you remember, he kind of fled the U.S. amid those sexual misconduct allegations that happened a few years back during the Me Too movement in like late 2017. He moved to that Southeast Asian country, and he's had a lot of people coming to visit him. Usher was one of the recent ones, but basically, he's had these celebrities come visit him, and then next thing you know, they're just getting dragged online for people being like, "Why would you go support him? This predator, this person." But we know that Diddy has gone there, Taraji P. Henson, MC Lyte, Lisa Ray McCoy, and obviously Usher. And yeah, it's like he's like, I want my friends to be able to come see me and be able to hang out with me and not feel like they're going to just be criticized because of who they hang out with. And he goes, look, yes, I live here. I like being away from it, but I come to New York. I literally will call the paparazzi on myself so people will see that I'm in New York and I'm walking around. It's not like I am not ever in the US. He's here. He just lives in Bali. He likes to get away from it all and be away. So he's like, please, people, can you knock it off? You don't drag someone like Oprah Winfrey when they hang out with Bill Clinton, who he says is like has more credible claims against him than Russell does. So he's frustrated. He's like, I have supported everyone else. Come on, support me throughout my time, getting shaded on.
I mean, can you really fault Russell Simmons for this? I mean, who doesn't want to be in Bali? I mean, it's a magical place. I mean, I've never been, but I've seen the photos and the videos. I'm sure he's got an incredible lifestyle over there. So, and he's also made his money. He's pretty much retired. I mean, so I kind of don't fault him in this. However, I don't know how many people were attacking celebs, but I think it just goes in hands. Russell Simmons, I think he addressed the allegations against him a little bit, but didn't really. He was like, you know what, screw this, I'm out. I think the allegations were from accusations from years and years ago. But Russell Simmons is like, listen, I'm in New York. I have my family here.
Let me remind you, the allegations were sexual misconduct from at least 15 women that happened during the Me Too movement. So it wasn't like it was one person. It was quite a few ladies that came forward saying that they were affected by it.
Do you think he's faced his, again, they're allegations. I don't know. I don't know how those allegations kind of ended because I don't know the whole lawsuit and everything going on in front of me. However, do you think he's like, listen, I'm moving out of the country. This is sort of like I don't want to say punishment because he's living in Bali, but I'm just going to leave the industry, and they got what they wanted, him to kind of take a break.
Yeah, I mean, people just want, consequences for actions. At the end of the day, they want you to be held accountable.
Yeah, so. And listen, I think, was he held accountable? He had to kind of give up everything. I mean, granted, he still has his family, he still has money. He lives in Bali, which is a beautiful place, but he gave up a life he had here and lives over there and has made himself into made a comfortable environment for himself. So this is all rich people problems. I mean, we're complaining about people getting attacked for going to Bali. I mean, I wish in my life I'll be able to go to Bali, but this is just rich people problems. Dax, number 6.
Boy Meets World star Danielle Fishel diagnosed with breast cancer. This was a huge announcement that she made this week on her podcast, Pod Meets World. And she said, look, I would like to share something with our listeners, something that Ryder and Will, which are her co-hosts and co-stars, were actually two of the first people I told the news to. I was recently diagnosed with DCIS, which stands for ductal carcinoma in situ, or SITU, which is a form of breast cancer. And she said that it's very, very early stage, so it's technically stage 0. She said, I was diagnosed with this high-grade DCIS with microinvasion, and I'm going to be fine. I'm having a surgery to remove it, and I'm going to be on some follow-up treatment. I've made a lot of decisions over the last couple days, but she basically said, she got a text that said, it's your time for your yearly mammogram. She goes, look, I've got all these things. I got my 50 jobs. I got my husband, my kids. Like, I've got so much going on. I don't have time to do it. But she ended up making the appointment to go get her mammogram, and it came back with, spotting something. And so she's like trying to tell people, don't pass up your mammograms, women. Go in there, get them done. You never know what you're going to find. And, breast cancer is one of those cancers that can be very treatable and curable. And so she's like, don't wait until it's too late and then it's gone too far. And same thing, go get your skin checked, people. Get your skin checked, because most people don't understand how deadly skin cancer can be and how preventable it can be if you just get your skin looked at. So there you go. That's my plea.
Dax, can I say something personal?
Yeah, what's up?
Are you going to reach out to her?
Am I going to reach out? We haven't talked in quite a long time, though. It'd be kind of weird, I think.
Yeah, but you you had your own kind of issues with skin cancer, so I didn't know.
Yeah, I felt like, when you haven't talked to a friend in a very, very long time,
yeah,
it might be kind of weird to just randomly reach out to them. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Should I?
I think you should. I say, hey, I just went through something too, and I think it's a way to reconnect. And you guys had a good relationship.
Yeah, we were really good friends for a long time, but then it just kind of disappeared into the thin air. So I don't know.
People got busy. Life happens. But I'm glad she, she seems in good spirits. So good on Danielle. And like you said, go get checked. Dax, number 5.
Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt's daughter, Shiloh, officially granted her name change. She will now go just by Shiloh Jolie. So we talked about this a couple of months back. I think it was on her 18th birthday. She filed to have her last name changed from Pitt to Jolie Pitt to just Jolie. And then she had to do a bunch of things with the court. They had to do a background check. She had to actually put her name in the Los Angeles Times to actually record it. It's like a part of an official name changing. And finally, the judge has signed off it. Shows she is now just Shiloh Jolie. And I remember when this story first came out, there was a quote basically saying that Brad Pitt is aware of the name change and very saddened by the lack of relationship that he has with his daughter at this point. God, what a stab to the heart.
That's gotta hurt.
I know how bad he wanted to be a father, and now a lot of his children have kind of turned on him. I don't know if that's influenced by her because they have such a nasty, nasty divorce, or the kids really just don't like him because he was a terrible father. I don't really know the deep details in there, but I can tell you that would hurt so bad to have your child say they don't even want your last name. Oh,
yeah.
God.
I it's got to hurt so much. And like you said, I don't know if it's because of her influence or if it's something he actually did. And to me, it's I don't know, personally, I want to believe Brad Pitt is the man. I want to think he's the greatest. I think he's an unbelievable actor. I think the roles, anytime he's in a movie, I always usually watch because he just picks great film. But it's got to be really embarrassing or hurtful. I wonder if actually he'll even address it in interviews and if they'll ever, figure it all out. Does she ever change her name back to Pitt, who knows? But it's a really sad story. But I don't know. Is it sad for Shiloh? I don't know. Is it, or this is like exciting for her? So everyone has their own story. But yeah, this is definitely tough for Brad Pitt. He's doing. Dax, I'll tell you what. So what I was saying before.
Listen, we're gonna run out of time. I got 9 minutes before I got to get my kid off to school, so we got to hurry, bro.
Okay, real quick. The only movie I want to go see coming up is Brad Pitt and George Clooney movie. That's the only movie I want to see.
What is that one called? Wolves or something?
Yeah, something like that. But they're filming in New York. That's the only movie that I want to see in theaters. I think that'll be kind of cool. It's a weekday movie. You don't go on the weekends. It's a weekday late. Go see that movie. Dax, number 4.
Phil Donahue, legendary talk show host, passed away this week at the age of 88. I mean, I remember him from my childhood. He was like the original guy who did daytime talk show, brought in the studio audience, and really revolutionized television. I think he had something like 9 Emmy Awards. I saw a lot of people reaching out saying something about his passing, even Oprah saying that she would have never been able to do what she did without him kind of being that initial trailblazer. But sad news. I mean, really, I look back and I'm like, Phil Donahue was like the guy. He was really the guy that made talk shows cool, made them a thing, made them popular. And so you think about all the talk shows that you've ever thought were dope out there, I would say because of him. So Oprah's show and Rosie O'Donnell's and Ellen's and all those shows were because Phil did it first.
He was a generational talent. I mean, talk shows, kids today don't realize how big these talk shows were. They don't exist anymore. They don't really exist. They were a different type of show. But at that time, I mean, there's probably 3 hours a day. Each network had their own talk shows, and it was great TV. What was your favorite?
I mean, I loved Ellen.
I didn't even know if Ellen was mine. I'm talking about back day. There's a guy named Richard Bay. Do you remember Richard Bay? Mm-hmm. I don't know if he was local, but it was sort of like the original Jerry Springer. It was a little bit crazy. But there's a guy named Richard Bay. And if you actually know who Richard Bay is, let me know in our private Facebook group off the record. It was this. I didn't know if it was just the East Coast, but it was a wild show. Dax, number 3.
All right, Matthew Perry's doctors are being charged in connection with his death. They've had their ability to prescribe medications revoked. However, they're still licensed to practice medicine. So this is Dr. Mark Chavez and Dr. Salvador Palencia. They've had their registrations to prescribe medications revoked by the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency, according to TMZ, which is a really big deal because last week when we first reported the story about the doctors being involved in all these arrests that were made, they were still able to write prescriptions, but now that has been stripped from them. Chavez and Palencia are still licensed physicians, but the medical board launched investigations into the two and now have been stripped of their ability to let anyone else have medications out there, which I think is a good thing because if they're making poor decisions out there and prescribing someone something when they know he is deep down a very bad road, then they shouldn't be allowed to prescribe to other people. I mean, they were distributing him ketamine. I was reading in this story that something that would have cost anyone else $12, they charged him $2,000 because they knew he was desperate and rich. And so, listen, one of them could face up to 10 years in federal prison. This is Palencia. For each ketamine-related count and up to 20 years in federal prison for each record for falsification, for each record falsification count, and could amount to 120 years in federal prison if he is convicted on all counts. The other guy could face up to 10 years in federal prison. So they could face up to a lot of time, all because they're being idiots and prescribing medication to someone when they shouldn't have.
Yeah, if you're a doctor, don't try to become friends with these celebrities by giving them prescriptions. We've seen it happen all the time. It still happens to this day, even though some people kind of get by, but they give doctors notes, they give prescriptions to these celebrities because they are a big figure. And unfortunately, well, I mean, it's very dangerous. It's a dangerous thing. Hollywood is scary. I mean, I've seen it in small doses. And I know some celebrities where if they wanted to get something, they could. And I know from them speaking to me, like, oh, I get a doctor's note, I'll get a prescription. But unfortunately, those people don't take advantage of the stuff that could really hurt them. But yeah, I think this is going to be a really big news story for these doctors. I think a lot of people are going to come after them. They're going to make a statement after these people. So I think now is the time to end it. Dax, number 2.
Number 2, we talked about it a lot this week on our Wednesday episode, but Andy Cohen caught in some more controversy. There was a video that he sent Brandi Glanville, and it appears to be him slurring his words, demanding her to watch him have sex in a video that she is calling disgusting. Well, we had Jess Finn on to break this entire story down this week, but he is now embroiled in another one of those situations where he was talking inappropriate to a cast member of of Housewives, and she is saying that he is gross, that he kind of stepped over the line being a boss, that she felt that she had to watch these videos and listen to him and respond in kind of sexual manners because he held all the cards. He held all the power in the relationship because he knew how bad she needed the job and she didn't have anything else. And she wasn't one of those rich housewives that could kind of afford to do anything. And he held all the cards in his back pocket. And so he was apparently at a Bravo event with Kate Chastain, and the two of them are on video. And he says, Brandi, we're about to have sex. You want to come watch us? We could have a threesome. Blah, blah, blah. If you want to listen to a full breakdown, listen to our Wednesday episode of this. But she said this is not the first time that he's had inappropriate behavior with her. She does sound like, according to Jess Finn, that she will be suing Andy. I don't know if Bravo as a whole, but she is very kind of frustrated with this whole situation.
Yeah, if you want to, like Dax said, I always say like Dax said, but if you want to hear more on the whole breakdown, Jessica Finn, who broke the story, talks all about it in our episode that we released on Wednesday. 2 days later, obviously, we're talking about this. My biggest takeaway is how a lot of news outlets are not doing this story. And I think it's because they want to have their relationship with Andy and Bravo, which shows you a lot what's going on in the entertainment news, how you want to talk about covering up stuff. I mean, this is a serious story. And it's crazy that some of the other publications are not doing this story.
Yeah.
Weird. Dax, the number 1 story of the week.
All right, guys, you knew it was happening. We knew it was happening. And it's finally broke. Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck are headed to divorce officially. She filed for divorce after 2 years of marriage. This happened on Tuesday. A lot of people confirmed it. Page 6, TMZ, everyone. Basically, she filed it pro per, which means she is representing herself without an attorney, which I don't even understand. It's not like Jennifer Lopez is over there filling out court documents. So maybe she's just trying to make it more of a low-key thing. This marks Tuesday also marked the 2-year anniversary of their pair's lavish Georgia wedding ceremony, which they then held and after getting eloped in Vegas in July of 2022. She did list the date of separation as of April 26, 2024. And she didn't say whether she and the actor have a prenup agreement in place, but a lot of people are saying that they did not have one in place. She went to waive spousal support and asked the judge to deny Affleck any such spousal support as well. I mean, listen, this is like, we knew it was happening. They were both house hunting. The stories were out there. I am not surprised by this story at all. It's just like, oh, finally we ripped the Band-Aid off, and so we can move forward without all these speculation, rumors, and gossip that have been going on for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what was going on personally. It was going on for so long. I was like, is this her trying to promote her movie? Is this, they kept still wearing the rings. Yeah. But now I guess is the final thing we need to hear for conclusion to the story, because I'm just over it. I'm just over seeing J-Lo. Is she wearing the ring? Is she not wearing the ring? Jennifer Lopez. Wow. She's been in a lot of relationships. Do you think she gets married again, or is this it? I think this has got to be it for her.
It's got to be it. I mean, as much as I want her to find that true love, I'm like, dang, man, this is a lot of weddings.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it might just be better. Just date people. Just enjoy the dating life. You don't need to get married. You don't get engaged. Just enjoy the dating life.
Yeah. I would just like to be a fly on the wall to know this is me being the yenta I am, but I would love to know exactly how it all kind of didn't go smooth. What was, and honestly,
I thought this
maybe
was
it was the
be,
media. I think the media could have been a big part of it as well. They didn't help. Are they not together? It's tough. It's tough being J-Lo's husband with the cameras, everything going. It's not easy.
She's one of the most famous people in the world, and I would say with her, it could not have been easy. But I thought this one was going to last because they were together. They had this love that like still lingered in the background. They got back together. I thought that this was going to be it. So sad for them. Even though a lot of people are laughing at them today, I still feel bad for them.
Yeah. All right. That is our top 10 stories of the week, our Raw rundown. Thank you guys for watching. If you're watching on Red Coral, if you're listening on YouTube or watching on YouTube, thank you. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We are on it all. Check out our private Facebook group called Off the Record. You should be in. It's a really fun community. Follow me at Adam Glenn. Follow Dax Holt at Dax Holt. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Guys, hope you liked that video. We got a lot more where that came from.
Hit that bell, like, subscribe, share with a friend. The best you do support us is really doing that. And we really need the money because we need hair gel.